Breaking tonight, Donald Trump says his confidential tax records published by the New York Times were illegally obtained. Hello and welcome to this special Sunday edition of Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us. Those tax records were published in Sunday's Times without Donald Trump's consent. His campaign and supporters say all that they show is that Trump did nothing illegal. With me now is Senior Economic Advisor to the Donald Trump campaign, Stephen Moore. All right, good evening, Stephen.
Hi, Judge.
Bottom line, no suggestion that what Donald Trump did was illegal, but essentially what has happened is there is a claim, it's not confirmed or denied by the Trump campaign, unless you can tell me differently, that with a $900 million loss in 1995, he is allowed, pursuant to the tax code, to move that net operating loss, as it's called, through the next 15 years on his tax returns. Now, you and I, and maybe people who understand economics, you may say that's what businessmen do, but how will ordinary Americans see this?
Well, I'm sort of shocked about how much attention this story has gotten, Judge, frankly. I mean, I read the article and I said, gee, there's nothing there. They had one page of one of his tax returns from, what, 15, 20 years ago, saying that he had a large $900 million loss on some of his business operations. Now, look, every farmer watching the show, every rancher, every small businessman and woman knows that when you have a loss, you are allowed under federal tax law to carry that forward, Judge, and you can use that to offset against the profits that you make in future years. It's a hallmark of our current tax system. The New York Times article makes it seem like it's some kind of scandal that Donald Trump had this 1 year of loss, and then they have only insinuation and they kind of imply that he didn't pay any taxes, but they have no idea. They don't have. Thank goodness they don't have his tax returns.
The Trump campaign neither confirmed nor denied, right, Steve?
Right. Well, but look, Donald Trump has not released his tax returns, rightly or wrongly. I happen to think it's nobody else's business.
Let me ask
but
you
there's
something.
No law there's no law that says he has to do that.
All right. 46% of Americans say, you know, he probably should release his tax returns, and 52% think it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Does this change the public perception of the tax returns? And, you know, at the end of the day, will it change things?
You know, let me give you the best reason why Donald Trump, I think, would be foolish to release his tax returns. And by the way, I've never talked about this with him, so I'm not making that.
Thinks he should.
But yeah,
but go ahead.
Here's the most important reason. The left is obsessing about all of these issues that have nothing, you know, the Miss Universe, this tax return story, because Hillary Clinton doesn't want to talk about the issues of the day. She doesn't want to talk about the economy. She doesn't want to talk about jobs. She doesn't want to talk about law and order. She doesn't want to talk terrorism.
Steve, Donald Trump is, you know, has given them the ability to not focus on that by talking about Miss Universe.
That's right. He's got to be more disciplined, no question about it. But let me go back to your issue about whether there was a crime perpetrated here. There was a crime perpetrated. You know who it was, Judge?
Well, I'm going to get to that. Hold on. I'm going to get to that.
That was the person who released these.
It appears what Donald did was legal, and even the New York Times admits that. But I want to refer you now to the federal code, which makes it clear. It's USC 7213.
Yep.
It's unlawful for any person to whom any return or information is disclosed in a manner unauthorized by this title, willfully to print or publish in any manner not provided by law, and this is a felony. So is the New York Times guilty of a felony?
They could be. Now, you know the law a lot better than I do. I mean, I'm a tax policy guy, not a tax attorney. But I will say this, you know, it wouldn't be surprising if this was somebody at the IRS. We know that the IRS has been so politicized under Barack Obama. We've seen what's happened with the way they persecuted conservative organizations. So I think this may have been someone within the IRS under Obama who leaked this information.
Let me get to this question.
Right.
The New York Times, a couple of years ago, when they had information that went against their liberal bent as it related to climate change, they actually said, since the documents are acquired illegally and were never intended for the public eye, they won't be posted in the New York Times. And isn't the New York Times showing that its bias is so obvious that it's reported that one of them said, we're willing to be prosecuted to get this out?
You know, there's no question about it. Look, the New York Times 3 or 4 weeks ago actually admitted that they are no longer going to be impartial. They feel that Donald Trump is such a tyrant and so bad for America that they don't even pretend to be impartial here. And I love that story you just dug up, Judge, because it shows how hypocritical they are. A number of years ago, they said, well, we can't publish this because this was obtained illegally. They obtained this IRS document from Donald Trump's IRS records illegally, and they published it. By the way, there's another point here. Conservatives out there who are watching this show, stop getting the New York Times. Stop paying these people.
Okay.
This has become such a liberal. They are no longer impartial.
Thanks for being with us, Steve Moore.